Okay, welcome back. Wolf 190D here with Rome 2 Total War. Or is it Total War Rome 2? In any case, uh, game's been around for a good long time, but it's still a good game. I enjoy going back to it on occasion because, I mean, as far as the way everything works together, the Total War series has just been totally fantastic over the years. And I mean, I go way back on the Total War games. I go back to the original Shogun in the late 90s. So, this one came out, and there was a really nice feature actually that came out with this one, and that was cooperative campaigns. So, yes, you can conquer the world with a friend, or just say, all right, we'll meet in the middle and then tear each other apart when the time comes. Right? So, this is a game start, obviously playing as the Romans. Um, Legendary difficulty, meaning that I will not have the option to manually save. Okay? So, if you want a challenge, then by all means, play Legendary. I highly recommend it. It doesn't make the AI any better. It's just you don't have the ability to save manually. You don't have the ability to pause and issue orders during battles, and you actually have a rather limited camera and no little radar mini map in the battles either. Hopefully, I'll be able to demonstrate that for you. So, some starting game tips since this is a start of campaign. I'm going to try to keep it general because it's something I personally tend to do all the time. And the first thing, of course, is economics. So let me see here. I have 5 population. That's going to cost 3. That's going to cost 4. What I'm going to do first, actually, since I have a village here, and it gives bonuses to wealth from farming, agriculture specifically, I'm going to expand this, and I'm going to build a villa or a villa. Why? First and foremost, well, I started off with a 0 food surplus, but now that I have my spy over there stealing food from some of my enemies, which, it's a good actually way to passively get experience for your special characters like that, to have them go in the field. Maybe at some point I'll be able to discuss champions and things like that, but right now I don't have those. I don't think. Let me see here. Details. Let me see. Trade, objectives, technology, diplomacy. All right. So I'm going to try to bypass these guys and go straight for Valathri. Okay. I'm going to encircle for the time being because I have a little bit more building to do. So what am I going to do for my other building? Let me see here. Cassentia, Lilybam, Syracuse. 3 and 3. Okay. So, I'm going to leave my cities on their base levels right now. And what I'm going to do, let me see here. That has a military wharf. I am going to upgrade this port to a harbor. Yes, it's going to eat a little bit of food, but as you recall, I am building the villa, which is going to build 4 food, and I'm stealing an additional 2 from some enemies. So I'm going to go ahead and build the harbor for the commercial growth. This city actually has a military wharf on it right now. I might convert that at a later point in time, but for now I'm going to leave that for building military units. And am I at war with them too? Let's find out. What does our diplomacy look like? Nope, I'm just at war with the Etruscan League right now. So, okay, there is that. Now, down in I think, yeah, best course of action might be to go into Cassentia here. Or do I want to go into Brundisium? Decisions. I have 3 surplus population. If I burn 1, I'm going to have to get 1 more in order to expand this place or another spot down here. Game start. Now, what I will do while I'm pondering that is I'm going to bring this guy down here. And do I have enough movement left? Yes, I do. I'm going to go ahead and fortify these guys right here. Now, fortifying units does a couple of things. It makes their upkeep a little cheaper. Let's see here. I do believe. I think, yeah, if I remember correctly, fortify reduces upkeep costs ever so slightly. It's a little bump. It also increases replenishment and reinforcement range. So, not to mention the defensive bonus, you get 10% melee defense skill for all units while they're fortified. So if anybody attacks them, but the reason I'm putting him here is because this is a land crossing, or this is a narrow sea crossing, and I'm just putting him there to prevent anybody from, as you can see, the area of control. To mainly prevent anybody from coming across and sneaking up my southern border. It's just a small force right now, and I don't really need the troops. Okay, so let me see here. Back to economics. I think I've made a decision. I think what I'm going to do first anyway is come to Cosentia, expand the city, and I'm going to build another villa. Yes, another villa in Cosentia. For the primary reason of, first and foremost, I like to have a good cushion on the food surplus, and if you get your food surplus high enough, you actually do get bonuses to replenishment rates with your troops and your armies. So it does help. It actually helps quite a bit. So for technology, you have two technology trees. All right, you have the military and you have the civil. All right, now the military trees, let me examine that one first because that's the one. Yeah. All right. So, if you're playing as the Romans, I believe it's under management. It's under the management branch of the military tree. You're going to need to get to. Let me see here. I want to say, and it doesn't tell you when. Doesn't tell you when, but I do believe it's under the cohort organization. Yeah, should be under cohort organization that you eventually unlock the actual Legion cohorts, which are pretty much going to be the bread and butter of your army. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. What's going to have to research first is supply reforms, which is pretty useful, actually, because it's going to allow auxiliary camp and manipular barracks, which are your next two levels of recruitment options for the Roman legions. Now, on the other hand, you have the civil branch, right? And the civil branch is going to pretty much improve your economics in various ways. Not to mention, actually, city happiness and opening up different civilian type structures. So the tech trees are pretty straightforward. Military does military related things, and civil does civil related things. This improves sanitation, among a lot of other different things. Right? So next thing that we do need to do, and this is kind of a must, because we've moved this army force up here. We have a garrison at Rome, which is probably more than enough to defend against these guys. But I don't know what else they have up in the north here. So early game is very, very important for establishing these various sorts of things here. Various sorts of things here. This fleet. Let me see here. I have a fleet. What can I build as far as ships are concerned over here? Let me see here. How do I, let me see, province overview details, raise forces, no. Oh, that's right, recruitment is done through here. Recruit units, okay. Now this fleet, I'm going to put them into double time, and I'm going to send them over to Brundisium. Okay, because I'm going to want to give them a little bit of reinforcement. So next thing on the list, though, is of course to raise forces. Now, factions are important to keep in mind. This is very, very important within this. It's something that they've modified over the years. I still rather much prefer the setup that they have in Rome. Anyway, there are things to keep in mind for your generals. And let me see here. I'm going to pull this guy up, go to details, and let me see here. General details. Okay. I think if I go through here, I'll be able to sort of show you a little bit. Let me see. No, I need the... That's hire mercenaries. That's technology. Force details. General details. Oh, yeah. So if we look at this, your generals are going to have three primary stats that are going to affect what they can do. They're going to have authority, they're going to have cunning, and they're going to have zeal. All right. Authority, as you can see, if you get high enough on the authority ladder part of the tree, and there's various skills that you can give them that are going to affect this increase. And then, of course, there are random things that come up that will also affect this. Okay, but authority is going to increase chance of wounding enemy agents in self-defense, and also the size of the commander's aura of influence. So in other words, in the battles, there's an aura of influence. You know, how far away from the commander does he have to be in order to provide those bonuses to his troops? Okay, so the higher you get this, and that's really the main focus. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't neglect you know, assassination resistance chance. That's always nice too. The aura of influence, though, is also going to be very, very important for battlefield tactics and stuff like that. Cunning is one that I generally really like to bump up on my generals. The reason for this is that if you get your cunning high enough, there are upkeep reductions to your armies. You know, your generals command. And then, of course, we have zeal. When you get zeal high enough, this is going to increase the general's combat abilities. So I don't personally like, I don't like any of my stats to go into the negative by any means, but zeal isn't one I'm terribly, I typically focus on because it's really central to the commander. Now, of course, if I'm wrong, hey, be sure to leave a comment. But it's not one that I tend to focus on. And actually that goes with any and all of those. Okay, so let me see here. You have your family summary. You have politics. These are different things you're going to want to go through. And then, of course, we have some records. And right now, you know, start a game, you're not going to have much there. But what we're wanting to look at are characters, because we're going to raise an army. Okay. Now, you know, common sense dictates that, yeah, you do want people who are going to be loyal to you to lead your armies. So, you know, people in your family, yeah, typically is your best bet. However, let me see here. And all of these generals are relatively even, except for this last guy, House of Papiria. He doesn't have much in the way of authority, which I kind of am a little leery about. And if I pick, and here's the thing, is if you pick from your family too much, you really do suffer penalties to the Senate. And it's important to keep control of the Senate. Very, very important to keep control of the Senate. Julia, so here's the House of Julia right here. We're not ready for an empire yet. Yes, you can change out of the republic and go into an empire. So influence is 26% versus And it doesn't say what the other houses have. So influence is overlooked. Yeah, you're going to want your influence to be up a little bit. As you can see, you get an increase to research rate, more morale for all land units, right? And of course, increases to the tax rate. So you want your influence to be high, but at the same time, you don't want to get too much influence for the other houses either. And generals in the field gain influence. They're going to be the ones that are primarily responsible for getting more of that. So I'm going to use my family member here, early reduction to influence of senators. Okay, fine. I'm also going to have him as, let me see here, the Triarii. Really good, solid defensive infantry unit. However, they are rather expensive. I'm going to go with cheaper right now. Plus, I like my general to be in cavalry because it gives much more tactical flexibility. I'm going to go ahead and recruit him. I'm going to put him in Rome for now, and then I'm going to recruit some units to go with him. Okay, so let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to recruit. Well, all I can do is Hastati right now, so Oh, okay, there it is. I've only got 350 gold left. So we do have a new general, and he'll be the one that takes primary charge of the defenses of Rome for now. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and attack Velathri. Now, and again, this is part of why I went over the research bit earlier in this video, was if you're starting out as Rome, don't expect much of these Hastati. They're technically medium infantry. They're not very durable. They don't really seem to do a whole lot in the way of attack. So, yeah, just don't really count on them. And actually, another thing you can do with these spies, I'm just waiting on those farms to get done building. Another thing you can do with spies is you can embed spies with your army, and they do, so agents like this do confer bonuses to the commanding officer of an army. So spies, of course, are going to increase the view range of an army. Sometimes they can increase the movement range of an army. They can increase their movement speed, well, distance on the campaign map. And I kind of actually like putting spies in my armies on occasion because, again, the cunning bonus confers to your leader, and your leader, and there's various skills. So I'll get into that more. Let's go ahead and get a fight going, shall we? Yes, let's have a battle. All right, now you can see he's really just got a group of Italian spearmen and his Italian cavalry going to be the two most problematic units. All right. Because that's why we play these games, is to fight battles, not worry so much about, muse so much over building our cities up and making sure our economics and stuff are good. No, actually, it's part of the challenge. So you don't want to neglect or gloss over any one thing. I mean, seriously, try it sometime. Neglect your economy. Neglect your diplomacy. You'll find yourself in the middle of a global conflict. You'll find yourself in the middle of a global conflict, and it's really tough. Even as Rome, it's really tough to fight a multi-front war such as that. And hey, if you don't believe me, just ask the Germans how that went out for them. So. and you know, this may or may not change. My tactics in this may or may not change as the game evolves and progresses, and coming up against new opponents, new styles of fighting and stuff. The Romans are really effective against the Western European peoples. The barbarians, yeah, as long as they don't overwhelm you and break your morale and stuff. But the Romans are very the reason that they're good to play as, especially if you're beginning, is because they're very disciplined. Their troops are very disciplined. They have a lot of morale. Right? So anyway, I'm going to group up these guys, and I'm going to send these guys off into the woods. And these guys, I'm going to send up there. These guys, I'm going to send right there. And my general, let me see here. If you hold the space bar, you can see where everybody is going. Okay, we'll hold him off. These guys will go ahead and let me see here. We're going to go ahead and run. And don't expect much early on from the Romans with relation to ranged combat. You'd be better off going over into the Aegean area, which is Greece. Be better off going over there and hiring archers. As a matter of fact, you're better off just with early game anyway, hiring a bunch of archer mercenaries. The Romans don't get very strong ranged units, which, I mean, it's okay. It's not their hallmark. It's not their trademark. You know, the Legion is their trademark. Actually, I'm gonna walk them so that way they remain hidden. Okay. Now, if you click and drag, you can reorder your formations, or you can just simply have them. So you can see, you can make them. I don't know why my camera's. Oh, that's why. It's because of the legendary difficulty. I have a restricted camera. This is gonna make. You know, I've played legendary difficulty rarely, mainly because I don't like the. I mean, you know, it's not bad. It's just it's nice to have the ability to save whenever you darn well please. Okay, so we're gonna take our spear chuckers here, our little javelin men. You know what I didn't do? I could have hired some Italian spears myself. Oh. Okay. Why is it that they're not already on skirmish mode? Don't know. Oh shoot. This might not go well. I've already got some problems. Okay, so let's go ahead and use our general's ability to inspire. And we have his general surrounded. Hopefully our general is up to the task. Looks that way. You know, as old as this game is, the graphics still really are. The graphics still really are great. Oh, and they broke. Well done, men, well done. I know. I was ragging on the Hastadis at the start. I was ragging on them a little bit. In all fairness, though, they're. I mean, come on. They're they're swordsmen. They're medium infantry. I mean, they're okay. They're great against spearmen, really. But try coming up against using Hastati against like a Greek phalanx or something. They don't. They really don't fare as well against them. Um, yeah. Oh, and your general abilities actually are also unlocked by certain levels within his skills. So we're going to go ahead and run them down. I mean, seriously, this game came out in 2012, and I mean, really, it's still it's still a good one. The graphics are good. The graphics are good. Everything runs really smooth. It's just the Total War games are they really are very well made games. You know, they've since come out with a bunch of other stuff. They've got like Total War Warhammer, and they've got Troy, a Total War Saga, which Troy was really good actually, but I don't know. I always manage to come back uh, to Rome. And I mean, does anybody remember the first Rome? First Rome was really good. All right. Character type is a dictator. Hey, he's the head of the family, right? Now we have, and Valathri is going to be tied in with the Italia province. Now, something to keep in mind with Rome Total War, and I think any of the subsequent games, really, it's the same with Attila. If you control the entire province, then you can enact these edicts. And the number of edicts that you can enact is dependent upon your the level of your family itself. So try to keep that in mind. And that was another reason actually for opening up that last one in Neapolis, because now we have Valathri, and Valathri is going to increase income from commerce. And it's also going to provide a public order bonus because it's a vineyard. Yes, they make wine, right? Drunk people aren't unhappy, are they? So anyway, expand city. And I don't have enough money for it right now, which probably was a mistake. But nonetheless, that's a basic first turn. It's not always going to be capture province, capture province X from one of your neighboring civilizations. It's not always going to be that way. Sometimes you want to keep a low profile, like if you're playing the Suabes, which are one of the Germanic tribes that start off up in the middle of the dark forest up there in Germania, right? Sometimes you want to keep a low profile because if you expand too much too quickly, it kind of pisses off your other neighbors, and it makes them more prone to going to war with you. And then there again, it's a very, very difficult situation to find yourself in if you're fighting a war on every single front. So it's another thing actually to keep in mind as you expand in the map is just that you want to pay close attention to who is where, and maybe setting yourself up some natural barriers, like trying to push towards the sea, right, before you go elsewhere. Yeah, and as you could see, hopefully anyway, raise forces, you have a limitation on the number of armies, so you have to really be careful about particularly about wars, because with 4 armies, I mean, seriously, if they're coming at if they're coming at you from 20 different directions, how are you going to cover all of that? Okay, yeah, there's natural choke points, like you could set one army up here. For example, you could set one army up here that could swing either way, that could defend either side. You could do that. Natural bottlenecks, right? You know, plug one army right here. They can't come. Anybody over in this area can't march around on you through the land without coming through that army. You know, and then you could push out with another army. It's why I put this army here on fortify, is to cut this off. The only way they can come up here now is to land. And you know, I have a fleet here, which is I'm going to try to grow that a little bit, but they have to come in and land on any of these little beachheads. They can't land on these cliff shores. They can't land anywhere down here. They can land here, they can land here, but this army is within reacting distance of all of that. So there again, you know, you have to really pay attention. I mean, it's really why I love the Total War games, is because it's total. You know, you have to manage your economy, you have to manage your politics, you have to manage your familial stuff. There's a bunch of stuff within that to do. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video today. As always, if you're enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. Keep the channel alive and going, right? And I will see you next time for more Rome 2 Total War.